Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Bits and Bytes. Today I'm going to show you how you can use Oracle database inside GitHub Actions. Yes, you heard that right. You can actually spin up Oracle database inside GitHub Actions and integrate it into your CICD pipelines. For demonstration purposes, I have here a new repository up on GitHub and I'm going to use the GitHub UI to show you how it's done. Of course, GitHub Actions is just YAML files that you specify, so you can do this fully on your local machine here as well and push to the repository. Now, as you know, for GitHub Actions to work, you need to have a .github folder. So I create a new folder. It's a hidden folder for GitHub to inspect, and there has to be a workflows folder in there. And then you have one or many YAML files. So I call this here actions YAML. GitHub detects that this is a YAML file, and off I go. I create a new action. So I give it this name, test with Oracle DB. I specify when this should run. So on a push to the repository or pull request is usually what you want to go for. And then you specify the jobs. Now, here we're only going to have one job, Oracle DB free. I'm going to just show you how to spin this up, which happens to run on Ubuntu latest. And then we specify the steps. Step one, as usual, is checking out the repository. So there's this predefined actions, check out v3 these days that people use. So this just checks out the repository so that you can test against in your GitHub Actions, or checks out the latest version of your repository, whatever that may be, the PR, etc. And then we say users, g-venzel setup Oracle free and version 1. So this is a GitHub action that a friend of mine helped me build that you can use to spin up an Oracle database based on the images that I also provide. That action has a couple of parameters. They're pretty much all defaulted, so it's super simple to spin up an Oracle database. But to show you, just for demonstration purposes, I show you how you can use the parameters and also some of the defaults to better explain what's going on behind the scenes. So first parameter, which has a default, is container name. It's defaulted to Oracle DB. That's just the container name itself, right? Docker Podman container, which brings me to the next one. The container runtime can be Podman, again, default, or can be Docker. The Ubuntu image comes with both installed. I'm a big Podman fan, so I like to use Podman. Feel free to swap this out for Docker. You will see later why this may be important. The tag will default to the latest tag, as usual with Docker images. But in this case, I'm going to show you how this is run on my Slim image variant. And then I'm going to pass on a app user and app user password that the image provides as well. So this will create a new user, a new Oracle database user, or a user inside the database that the application can connect you to. So this would be app user test and app user password test. So said then when the container is started up, you will have a database user called test with password test that the application can connect to. Now, you really should use GitHub secrets here, right? But for, again, demonstration purposes, I'm gonna use hard-coded here. This is everything you need to spin up an Oracle database in GitHub Actions. That's actually more than you need because, as said, there are a couple of defaults here, right? And I'm even using defaults here. But so let me introduce another step to show you that the container is up and running. So at this step here, or at this point here, you would run your regular regression tests, right? You spin up your unit testing environment, connect to the database is ready to go, etc. But let me show you that this is the case, right? So introduce a new step here, verify, and I use a cheap trick of just jumping into the container and run a SQL statement. So we have here echo, let's do a select, hello there. That I pass on to Podman, right? I jump into the container, Oracle DB. So why is this important, or why were those two things important, right? So if you were to pick here Docker instead of Podman, again, Podman is the default, Docker is the alternative, then you would have to obviously use Docker down here as well, as Podman would not know that the container is running, or vice versa. And if you want to go into the container, you know, by default, the name is Oracle DB, but you can obviously call this whatever you want as well, which you would then refer to in your Podman or Docker instructions. So we jump into the container and we spin up SQL Plus inside the container, and I connect this test at localhost. Free PDB1. So again, test is the user that we have specified here. Test is the password that we have specified here. You should really use GitHub secrets here, right? And also down here. and not hard-coded username password. And because we are in the container, I can connect to localhost and then free PDB1. So that should be all it. If I have no typos here, we should be good to go. So let me commit these changes. And it's always so funny that it's like GitHub sometimes has these issues of not fully refreshing, but here it is, right? We are in Actions. We see that here is a new job, Oracle DB free. That's cute. And it's about to be started. And, as this runs, I'm going to talk you through these steps that we have just created. So you see here already, like, the job was set up. We had this checkout. So we checked out the repository version here for this action. And now this setup Oracle free GitHub action is running, right? So that's kind of downloading now the image from the registry. That will take a couple of seconds. And then we see it will spin up the container. And we have here this verify step. So this was the step I named, where I did -name : verify. So this will be the additional step where we actually go in and check that the database is available. So you see here the image has been pulled, took a couple of seconds. Now we're basically waiting for the database to come up in there, right? So it's like, again, this is all done by the action, and you see that nothing's happening afterwards. So the action is taking care for you that once the action completed, the database is up and running, which is really what you want. But I found the GitHub services don't necessarily do that, right? They kind of spin up the container and then move on. So you see here, whoop, we're all done. We have a green light. Fantastic. This test was successful. So quickly talk you through here what's happening. So, you see we have spun up this action, or we've invoked this action. You see here again, the parameters that have been used, some of those that we have specified, some of those that we have not specified and defaulted. So you can overwrite these as well if you want. You see here the inputs have been verified. So this is already inside the action, right? So again, you see what has been set here. You have a warning here that the Oracle database password itself for system is randomly generated. That's okay because we didn't pass it on, so it's all good. And then, we've basically verified all inputs are valid. And this is essentially the podman run command that you see, right? So this is, again, the actual container that's here being spun up, and some of these parameters that you have passed on that are passed on to podman, like the container name, the app user, and app user password. Again, these should really be GitHub secrets. And yeah, then we jumped into the verify step. Now the verify step, I said, was super simple. It just jumped into the container and invoked the SQL prompt, which we can see here. And then it passed on via this echo and pipe this hello there, right? Select hello there. And you can indeed see, we got hello there. So that's it. That's as simple as it is to get an Oracle database up and running and start integrating it into your CICD pipelines. I hope you enjoyed this little trick. Certainly I like this action a lot. I hope you're all gonna get to like it as well and use it heavily. It's really cool to see how quick and simple it is to get an Oracle database up and running in a GitHub action, and also in a fast amount of time as well. So hope you loved it. Feel free to leave comments or not, and I'll see you in another episode. Thank you very much.